I will now do a check before I introduce the Yet Come On show. Is this show 140 or 141, Brett Barney?
What I put in the email, 141, right? Yes.
141.
141. Doesn't matter what's in the email. I've read what's in the email. That is a point of contention. I just want to know. It is show 141 of the Yet Come On show. I'm your host, Southside Steve. Joining me is my co-host, Brett Barney, also in red. Alabama red. I'm in Peachtree Road Race red, and Yet Come On red. And then also, and it's not red, I know it's crimson, is our guest, and that would be one Jeff Boggis, fantasy guru himself. And lastly, coming in without a headset, coming in hot, as Jesse James Dupree would say, right out of the restaurant, right onto the exit, is our very own co-host, and that would be one Evan Brando, known as Brando Nicio. Yeah, come out. What?
Should I wear some red? I feel I'm the only one not rocking a red.
Well, you got red and crimson, but it looks a little red. But you are in you're in Country Club Blue.
I am in Country Club Blue.
Where were you eating tonight?
Well, I went to a bar. It was not a fancy place.
I didn't know whether you'd been in a country club or not. I've
been in a country club. I was the.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not. Hey, I'm just asking the questions. I didn't know.
I probably don't give the vibe of someone who's been at a country club or owns khaki pants, but here we are.
You could have worked at one.
Yeah, I could have worked at one. I'm like the caddy in Caddyshack, right? Steve is my Chevy Chase.
I love that. And when I putt, I make those kind of sounds too. And then there's Brett Barney.
I want a hot dog. I want a hamburger. I want a chili dog. I want a milkshake. That's me.
You'll shut up and you'll get what you get. And then Jeff Boggis, who, Jeff's got a little splash of country club in him. Jeff also is offended his HOA because they have a 2-flag rule in the subdivision, and he is sporting three Alabama flags off his back deck. True or not, Jeff?
The same flag?
True. It was true up until this year. Since we lost to Georgia in the national championship.
Oh, damn.
I have gone out and purchased a new Alabama flag. It is black because we're in mourning, and it has the red A. And I'm flying that all season, and I will continue to fly that one flag, the black flag, until we win the next national championship.
Jeff.
One flag, one team. I feel very confident, Brett, that this is going to be a year where we're not even going to lose one game.
We're not in mourning, baby. The reason it's black is because it's a funeral. We're about to kill everyone.
I like it. Yeah, it's a blackout.
I like that a lot. And of course, we have 2 Alabama grads currently on the podcast right now. That's exciting. I'm a dropout of Georgia State. Yourself, Evan?
Graduate of Kennesaw State.
Congratulations. You know what? My nephew just graduated from there.
Hey,
that's fantastic. Love that school. I think the girls are hot. Most of them work at the Hooters down the street. Nice campus. I dig it.
There's a Hooters and a Twin Peaks, actually. So
yeah, well,
a lot of options.
You know what? Isn't that nice? Especially when the same guy used to own both and owns Twin Peaks now, my buddy. And soon to be a home, because damn it, it should be, of Yet Come On Bourbon Whiskey. This is Legends Yet Come On Bourbon Whiskey. It is empty because I'm finishing a bottle right now. If I have to start another bottle, that means this podcast has either gone too long or I have a problem. We'll see which.
Or both.
Or both.
Or both.
Thank you. Or both. Jeff Boggis, I need to know, is our guest, what are you partaking? What are you drinking currently, sir?
Tonight I am double fisted.
Oh, yeah.
I have 2.
Boggis.
All right. Boggis. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's awesome. I love it. It's smooth. It's no aftertaste. Doesn't have that burning sensation. Love it.
Jeff, I swear to God, I'm going to make you a spokesperson. I couldn't say it any better if I had to myself. It is smooth. It is smoky. I can say it on the podcast. I don't say it on the radio, but Jack Daniels is all I drank. I think a lot of bourbon guys had their favorite, and that's all I really ever was loyal to. And I said, if I'm going to do something, put my name on, it's got to taste better than what I love. And this does to me. So, yeah, come on and Coke. Hopefully that becomes a thing one day. We'll see. But it's so smooth. I like you. I'm just drinking it straight up. Evan, what are you partaking in?
I am partaking in some Buffalo Trace.
Nice. Look at you, country club. Get it.
Yes, quite.
I gotta tell you. And by the way, is that just a spare bed back there? Whose bed is that?
Oh, this is for where the poor sleep. This is the help.
poor.
This is where the help
sleeps.
We give them the half bed. They get a half bed. That's all they get.
Funny thing about this, I was asking about Brett about the Buffalo Trace before we started the show, because apparently it's pretty hard to find right now. I think a friend of mine did not know what this is, because we did like a little get together at my place, and it was BYOB, and she was just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna bring some bourbon or some whiskey or whatever. I don't think she knows what this is.
Yeah, but it's not like some high dollar.
No, I know, but it's hard to find, right?
Yeah, I'll give
like
it that.
This is you could accidentally pick this up as like and not know what it is, right?
Yeah, I guess I do think, Brett, it's more expensive than Legends. Yeah, come on, bourbon. We try to make our bourbon affordable, although it tastes like a $70 bottle. You can get it for $30. Hello.
I want to say that's like a 40, roughly in most places.
Not hating on you. That's good. I'm glad to see you're drinking.
It's tasty. The only reason I'm not drinking Yakima is because the only bottles I have are signed and or I got 2 bottles. I gave one to my dad because he helped out and had everyone sign it, and then I had everyone sign one. And I got a drink from that. So
all right, we'll get you a bottle. We'll get Boggis. You definitely deserve a free bottle when I see you, because you're doing the right thing and purchasing it. God bless.
He's the
and Brett Barney
too.
He's the commish. The commish. Yeah. You always. I'm not stupid. You definitely bribe the commish. I will be bribing him.
Yeah, if you want the first overall pick, that's the way to go.
I would like that. Yeah. All right. Here's the fun way we're going to decide our draft order this year. Whoever pays Jeff the most. We're doing
wouldn't that be funny? We got to think of a way. Brett Barney, you are like the sports outside of Boggis. You're kind of like the super sporty guy on the Come On podcast. I do pretty good, but you're all in.
I got my ass handed to me in our league last year. I don't know. My wife came home with these like Jameson mini, like, I don't know.
Oh.
So she was like,
Irish beer, or is that Jameson
lemonade
in there?
Lemonade. Yeah, it's like Jameson lemonade. I don't know. I had to pour Jameson in it to make it taste better.
That's hilarious. You know, my Jameson, I had to add more Jameson to what's in a can. I think everything will be in a can in 15 years. I hope our stuff's in a can just so people can take it to the beach. I still am a bottle man. I love a good mix, but I think a lot of things are going to the can. But one thing that's not is the Come On Fantasy Football run by Mr. Jeff Boggis. Jeff, you need to give your company a plug, because I have paid Jeff before. If it gets desperate, I'll pay him. It's very affordable, and you get the knowledge of one Jeff Boggis. Tell us about yourself and your fantasy company.
Sure. So I have run a website now for, I think it's almost 20 years, fantasyfootballempire.com. And I sell a draft preparation spreadsheet for a mere $6.99 with free updates all the way until the first game of the regular season this year. As a matter of fact, about an hour ago, I got a text from yours truly, Will Turpin, saying, Boggis, I need your spreadsheet. I've got an auction draft coming up. Can you send it to me? And I said, it's already on your way. So he's like,
did you charge him, or did you let him have it because he's a rock star?
I let him have it because he's a rock star, and he's a camping buddy of mine, and
it's hard to beat that.
He signed my bottle here. I mean,
I love it.
This pays for itself right here. So
I love that. And you know what's funny? Another person that might be on your bottle that was at our launch party on July 9th, and of course that took place in Cumming, Georgia, at Legends Distillery. John Rocker. He sends me a message today while I'm on the air, and he goes, hey, can you get a hold of Will? I'll be in Los Angeles next week. Can you get me 2 tickets into the show? So I said, Will,
ticket broker now?
I guess. And Will, so I'm the middleman, and Will's like, no commission here. But Will's like, yeah, we got him. I'll get him 2 tickets at will call. So
Oh, that's sweet. That's
Rocker is
cool.
going to check out Collective Soul. Of course, they just launched their new album, so we're excited. Always great to have Will Turpin on. He is he's our buddy. We love him, and you did right by him by hooking him up. Will's never dominated fantasy. When you look at our history of the Come On League, obviously,
which I am
Brett,
new, so I don't know
yeah.
this. So yeah, this is important for me.
Well, this is good. And Evan, you're new to it. Brett's been in it for a couple of years. We now have a new member. We have a member in question. But do you have a history of, like, say, since we've mentioned Will Turpin, how anybody's done? Who's won the league? I know I have. I'll say it. Inaugural year, I won it. And I was mystified that I didn't get any money because we forgot to ask for money. I won and got nothing. No cheddar, just reputation.
Right. 2 years ago, you won, Steve. Last year, I actually am the defending national champion of the league. Yes.
He got paid.
No, we need to talk about that too. So what happened is we said, I can't remember if it was $25 or $50.
Yeah, it was 25.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened is all of us, people that make less than X amount of dollars a year paid the $25. It was the guys with the multi-million-dollar baseball contracts who won't be named, or the rock stars that make multi-million dollars with new albums they just put out last week.
Chris
couldn't come up with $50. I'm thinking
Chris Medlin, Will Turpin, I'll name them.
Peter Moylan.
These are starving artists.
Michael Tolcher.
Michael Tolcher. Hey, you know what? And I know Tolcher. I went to a church with Tolcher. We've known each other since we were like 5-6 years old. And the Tolchers, husband and wife, they're Catholic. We're Catholic. My mom stopped at 3 because my little brother was breech, and that pregnancy was a biatch. But the Tolchers had, like, I don't know, 6-7 kids, and they're all blonde, and they all look together. And I know the oldest one, and then the second one, and then one of the Tolchers. But in church, it was like little blonde dominoes. It was like stair step, ding, 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 ding. And I think they had one girl and like 6 kids or 6 guys. But the guy's quite the talented musician. I didn't realize that when I went to church with him. I probably haven't seen him since I was 18 years old. But I know that you're connected, and Will Turpin's connected to him as well.
Yeah, and also Brian Finneran from the Atlanta Falcons. He couldn't come up with
didn't pay
$50. No, he did not pay.
All right, that bothers me. Finneran lives in Sugar. Where doesn't he live?
Sugar.
Where does he live?
Sugar.
He does.
Sugarloaf.
You want me to say
Sugarloaf? Yeah, Sugarloaf. You have his address? Do you have his address? Just Sugarloaf.
No, but I did offer to be the enforcer this year. Jeff will back that up.
Yes. We had that conversation to where, Brett can be the treasurer / enforcer, so that if every day that we get closer to the draft, if you haven't paid, I mean, maybe that's what we do. Those people that haven't paid, they have to draft toward the back, and the last one to pay has the 12th pick. The first one to pay gets the first pick.
That's it.
That's an incentive to get people to pay.
What are some really fun, creative ways you guys have picked draft order in the past? Because I feel like my fantasy group has done a lot of really cool ones.
Well, hold that thought.
Yeah.
Because now there's an unpaid individual. First off, I'll be honest with you. I'd like a little bit of that money because I won and I didn't get shit.
Right.
I didn't get shit.
You bragging rights.
I tell you what, if I come up with this, Boggis, just so I could tell my wife I did good, send me $25 of what you collect. Just send it to me. Okay. And then I'll tell my wife I made $25. But I think we collect on every one of these guys. How much money, and we'll get to it, Evan, how much money are we collecting from the millionaires in the league that have not paid? 25? We're asking for 25 a man? Or 50? What are we asking for to these guys that did not pay? Can y'all not hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I'm thinking
He's
50.
thinking.
I was waiting on Jeff. I'm thinking 50 for them. I paid my 25 last year.
I'm the new guy, so I feel like I don't get a say in this.
All right, it's 50 for every guy that didn't pay. Jeff, you take 25 from all those. You deserve it. You won.
No. It's clean slate this year. Plus we have, we're going to announce this right now.
Oh,
Mike Mills.
You're too kind.
Mike Mills of REM is in our league this year.
It
I don't know.
surprise me.
Is Mike one of these guys where he's a multimillionaire and he's not going to pay 50
He
bucks?
is.
I don't know. I mean, if you look at the trends and the Sultan of Stats, the stats say that he won't pay. So I don't know.
All right. So Mike Mills of REM now in the league. That's great. Doesn't surprise me. This Yet Come On League is popping. People are begging to get into it. The four of us are in it right here. Evan, I know you've never been in it. You don't know how lucky you are. Feel free to get off of this podcast, go in the bathroom and masturbate. You think about the Yet Come On League. Don't even think about a chick. Think about being in this league. Mike Mills in this league. Peter Moreland, is he in or is he out? He's got a lot going on right now. I do not know. Chris Medlin wasn't sure. Medlin is in 100%. I know.
Good. Turpin's in 100%. We actually have the draft around his tour schedule so that he's off that night. So he's available for the draft.
Unbelievable. Brett, I know, Evan, nobody checked with y'all on your schedule. It's all about the rock star.
Oh, I'll make it work.
Now that we're getting to it, we'll see if Peter's in. Are we a 12-man league?
Well, it depends if Axel signs up. Right now, we're 11-man league until he signs up.
Axel will sign. He's in. We're going to talk about it on Rock 100.5 in the afternoons. Boggis, we will have you on throughout the entire season on Thursdays to let people set the record. So Boggis will be on with us every Thursday afternoon through football for 17 weeks straight. And again, that is fantasyfootballempire.com. Definitely worth it. Get your schedules. I've got a big draft coming up and it's, and Evan, you're asking how we're going to do it. Mine is an auction draft and I have to drive to it. My brother, it's a destination. If you don't come to Alabama, which I know two people on this podcast love that, I have to go to Jackson's Gap, Alabama. It is near Auburn University. My wife graduated from there. Don't you voice freak, but I have to go. At least I'm in the state of Alabama. And we're going to do the auction draft. So I'm going to get your thing from you.
Yeah,
I want to know what's going on. I want to know what the three top Falcons are, but Evan has asked a question. So as we move on, and those of you listening to this, and for those of you that are watching, Brett's in the same yellow ass room. Evan's in the same room where I think that his au pair and him have sex in that room.
That's right.
And then I'm downstairs, but damn it, if Boggis doesn't have quite the backdrop for all you Alabama fans. So how are we going to pick it? Do we go with the millionaires go last because they didn't pay? Do we let Mike Mills go first because he's coming into the league fresh? What are you guys thinking? Or do we draw names out of a hat?
Why don't we auction off the draft spots? I don't mind going last because I'll double up on the back end of the snake.
No, I think we got to do something more. So, okay, this year we did.
Yeah, just let the heavy hitters.
All right, tell me this much. So, what are we doing? What are we doing with the money if everybody offers in? Does it go into the pot? Or are we buying shirts this year for the fantasy draft? What are we doing?
Shirts.
I like shirts. We have shirts in our family league, and then we have the record on the back. But this is an intense league. We do. If you lose, you have to either get tattooed an L on your ass, or you have to get a brand.
I like it.
And the L, it's branded. It's about that big. It's not even a quarter of an inch. It's an itty bitty L. It's a coat hanger. They stick it under flame and they
brand you. Yes.
Yeah. We can do the Waffle House one too. You guys see that?
See the what?
So was it last year or a year before? Brett, you're the one who told me about this. The punishment for losing the league was a guy had to spend 24 hours in a Waffle House. But every waffle he ate knocked an hour off of his sentence.
Which is great.
Yeah. And like you think you're like, okay, no problem. But think about how dense and how big those Waffle House waffles are. You get like 5 or 6 in and that's tough.
It is tough.
Yeah, that's tough.
Right. We need a punishment for the loser. That's what we need to do.
Right, here's what I've been pitching for my league for years that we haven't done. I think the loser should have to take the SAT.
I hated that damn test.
Anybody can sign up for it and take it.
I did that for the regular guys. They made me go in and take that son of a bitch. And I was like, cannot believe. Last time I took it, I was wearing a tux because it was the night after prom. I was like, I do not want to be here. True story. All right, that's on the table. Anybody else got a better punishment? I think the Waffle House punishment should be on the table too. I like it.
I like the one my brother sent me today, is that everybody has to get together for a golf outing, and whoever loses has to come dressed in a women's golf outfit and play from the red tees.
That's pretty funny.
That's very good.
Good. All
Do
right.
I have to buy the outfit, or is something?
Yeah, you just go to
You
Goodwill.
go to
and
Twin,
get-
go to Twin
yeah.
Peaks or Tilted Kilt and
Yeah.
just pick up something there.
Steve will hook
That's
it
what
up. I'm
you
sure he's got like a hoe bin somewhere.
I do have a hoe bin. I got leftover clothes from a few girls. I don't know why I didn't throw them away. I just smell them every once in a while. It's
Memories.
weird.
Memories.
They're
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
scrapbook.
That's it. Boggis, what do you think's a good penalty?
1 year I had to dress up as Santa Claus and go out in Marietta and hold up a sign that says, I suck at fantasy football while ringing a bell, like I'm working for the Salvation Army.
That's
Yeah,
It
brilliant.
actually made
I bet.
ESPN and it made Matthew Berry's annual calendar. So I have a photograph. I will send you all just to
Oh,
prove that
yeah,
I did
I'll
it.
throw that up right here.
Yeah. I've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it
Matter of
somewhere.
fact, send it, Devin. I want to see that picture right now in the podcast. That's
Mhm.
fabulous.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to dress as a Reno 911 cop and ask for money in Nut
Lieutenant
Huggers, but
Tangle.
I was Lieutenant Tangle. So I'm not against the outfit either. So I think what we'll do is we'll take these ideas. The podcast doesn't have to decide, but we can vote on it to see what people think out of the 12 of us. But I think those are all fantastic ideas. I really hope the Waffle House one gets it because that is just phenomenal.
I
don't know
just
who
want an
watched
excuse to play golf.
the golf one too. Yeah, I need an excuse. That's good. Maybe we
Babe,
give
it's
them a
fantasy.
choice.
It's fantasy. We have to do this. It's a fantasy thing. We all said we would do it. I'm committed to it. We have to do this.
All right, let's give them a choice. Why don't we give them a choice of either the golf round as a chick or Waffle House? I
So
think those
whoever
are both-
loses gets to pick, like it's sort of like a pick your poison kind of thing.
Yeah. And if you want to throw in the Santa
Or you
outfit
just-
with ringing the bell, I think that's phenomenal too. So you get to choose which one you want to do. And Evan, since the four of us on the podcast, each one of us will toss out 4 punishments. They have to pick one of them.
Oh, that's
Fair
Oh, that's a
enough.
great idea. Yes. Yes.
There you go.
But we
So
got to
I'll
get
vote-
commitment before the draft because you don't want to be
Yeah.
halfway through the season and somebody's 0-7 saying, "Oh, I don't want to do this. I'm out,
That-
man."
totally happened to us.
Yep.
We were our league is named after a Futurama thing, if you guys remember that cartoon.
Yeah.
And we all agreed in that show there's a movie and there's like a pretty prolific ass tattoo. And we were all like, all right, let's do this. This year is going to be the year. Guy bailed after he was like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So we
That's-
haven't talked about it since. But-
Do you know where he lives? Does he live local?
Yeah, he lives in
I got some ideas.
Peachtree
I got some
City.
ideas.
Peachtree City.
Guess what? We go down to Peachtree City. We pick up dead animals on the way in the back of my truck. We put them on his driveway or put them on top of his vehicle. That'll teach him. Then
Derek
we
Evan
roll his-
Scott, we're coming for you, bud.
We're coming for you. You don't bail, bitch. Sorry, I don't normally cuss.
We
but he's a
did.
bail
We
bitch.
did. His one punishment was for the draft next year. He's no longer in that league, but his one punishment was we did a boat draft where we rented like a big party boat, and like they're super strict about drinking if you're driving, because it's a big party boat. So
I think that's a bad idea. Somebody always drowns on those. We're not going to be on water doing a draft. That is
No.
crazy. God bless you. All right, tell me this much, Boggis. Getting into it, let's just talk a little. I don't want you to give away everything because if you want his knowledge, what is the weekly cost for your knowledge for somebody that's playing DraftKings or involved in any betting or just doing fantasy?
Well, I usually just charge $5 a week, and with that, you get also the famous link to our DraftKings contest every week. And it's not just on Thursday nights. I know, Steve, that's what you love playing, the one game. We could
I
do the
do.
one game. I think this year on the show, when I come on Thursday, I'm going to make sure I give you the optimal lineup for Thursday night games. We'll also help Axel with his eliminator tournament that he plays or survival tournament, whatever it's called. And then we'll come up. We always come up with a lineup for, here are the top plays that you want to, and everybody can't play Travis Kelce every week. You have to build a team and stay under that $40,000 or $50,000 salary cap. So we want to also, talk to you about the value plays, the plays that, that are a lot cheaper than $8,000 to roster somebody, maybe a $3,000 or $4,000 pick, because you're going to have to throw in a couple of those as you build out your roster every week. And that's a great thing about playing daily fantasy sports, every week you get a new lineup. So if you have a bad week, next week you come back and I remember one year, Steve, it might have been last year, you were really close to winning the $1 million prize. You were like in the top
I was up
5 and
there.
you were right up there. Yep.
For a moment, I had it, and there was like a minute and a half left. And next thing I know, I went from literally like hundreds of thousands of dollars down to literally like 60, 75 bucks. I was like, what the hell just happened?
Oh, man.
And it was just a dumb play. Had one guy that was set, a running back, been handed the ball to run in the end zone on the 2-yard line. I would have won. Instead, it was a little quarterback sneak, and he took it in, and I was like, son of a bitch. And next thing I knew, I had pennies. And that's what's fun about it. Now, as we're talking about the fantasy, and that's really what we're doing, is kicking this off with the podcast right now. Again, this is our fantasy Yeah Come On League that we have 12 participants. But the cool thing is, listen to Rock 100.5 in the afternoon with Axel and Southside for Jeff's pick. He'll give you a lineup, but if you want it all, again, fantasyfootballempire.com. We're giving you the guy that we've used for over 15 years on the air. There's other guys that do this. We love Boggis. Boggis is our man. Right now, you want to give let's give a couple cherry picks before
Sure.
I mentioned some advertisers. What are 2 or 3 hot picks that if you are the first, second, third pick in your fantasy that you need to jump on?
Well, in most drafts, it's coming down to you've got a tier 1, which is basically 3 players right now. Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts is probably the number 1 overall pick. He's a running back. He does a lot. He catches the balls out of the backfield. He's good in a half point per reception, or what we call a PPR league, or a full PPR league, versus a standard league where you just get points for not catching a pass. If you're a running back, Christian McCaffrey, when he's healthy for Carolina Panthers, is probably the best overall running back. The problem is he's very much, somebody that just can't stay healthy. And I loved Dalvin Cook of Minnesota, another good running back. The guy just can't stay healthy. So it's a high risk, high reward. If those 2 stay healthy all year, they can help win your league, but more than likely they're going to miss some games. So you have to make sure if you draft those players, you have to know their what's called a handcuff. Who are their backups? You want to draft those backups late in your drafts on your bench, just in case McCaffrey or Dalvin Cook gets hurt this year.
Brett, you got a question for Boggis on anything in the league?
So you're saying stick straight with running backs. That's all the tier 1s. I mean, like, obviously running backs always go first because that's your most valuable player. But then you look at people like Deebo Samuel, and he can be running back, but he can also be wide receiver.
Yeah, Cordell Patterson. Look what he did for the Falcons last year. Another guy like and what will happen is they'll actually qualify not only at the running back position, but at the wide receiver position. Where that really helps you is, as you know, there are bye weeks that, you're trying to put together a team and you don't want to drop good players just to fill your roster. So if you have somebody like Patterson or what's his name?
Deebo.
Deebo. They can fill in those other positions where you might have to drop a good player to fill that. So I'm really surprised. Cordell Patterson's going pretty late this year. He's going like pick 100 to 120. They don't think they think there's going to be some regression this year, but they think that
because the Falcons are just not good.
1-0, baby. 1-0.
Deebo Samuel. It's going to be interesting with Trey Lance in there now as the quarterback. 1-0.
Look at Brett. We beat Detroit's ass.
That's right, baby.
Oh God.
Not only that, on Hard Knocks too.
Undefeated.
Yeah. Look at that. On Hard Knocks. Take it.
So let's talk about the Falcons for a second, because I know
let's do it. I got my Falcons cup. I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So one of my fantasy football busts this year is going to be Kyle Pitts for Atlanta. Now you say, what? He's not going to have a great year. When we talk about sleepers and busts, we talk about relative to where they're being drafted.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So right now, Kyle Pitts overall has a rank around 34, 35. Okay. 12-team league, you got to draft him in the 3rd round to get him more than likely. So when you take a Kyle Pitts in the 3rd round, that means you're passing on guys like, Josh Allen, a quarterback for Buffalo, or Ezekiel Elliott, a running back for Dallas, because they're going around the same pick as he is. Here's a stat that a lot of people may not remember. Last year, Kyle Pitts, let me ask the trivia question. How many touchdowns did Kyle Pitts have last year? Now here's a guy.
Oh, Brett knows.
Don't look it up. Okay. Here's a guy last year that
hands
had
in the air. Nobody's on a keyboard.
Over 1,000 receiving yards. Okay. He had 68 receptions. He was targeted 110 times. How many touchdowns did he have?
Bagel?
He had one.
One?
The answer is
one.
Huh.
You know when he got his second?
He hasn't gotten his second.
Yeah,
No,
he did.
it was this week.
He got
right?
it in the pro. He got it in the Pro Bowl, and it was his first touchdown he ever scored in America.
Oh,
that's
because
because
he
got
was in London
London.
or Mexico. I think it was London. Yeah.
London.
Okay.
London was last year.
Okay. And you have to remember that was Matt Ryan at quarterback. Now we're looking at Marcus Mariota. You think there's going to be an upgrade there? I mean, come on. So to me, Kyle Pitts has bust written all over him. And then they drafted the London guy out of USC. And I know he's got a little bit of a knee injury right now, but he's their number 1 receiver. I don't know, with Patterson there, I mean, I just don't see Pitts getting the targets that he was getting before. Maybe he gets 3 touchdowns. Great. Okay, let's say he gets 3 to 4 this year. Okay, I can get the same kind of tight end 10 rounds later that's going to score 3 or 4 touchdowns. I can get Dallas Goedert of Philadelphia that's going to get 5 touchdowns. I could go down the list. Zach Ertz in Arizona, he's going to get 4 or 5 touchdowns. Why am I going to invest all this energy in a 3rd round pick when I can get the same value 10 or 12 rounds later? Those are the kinds of things that help you win your league.
There you go. Well spoken. We're going to hold that thought, mention some sponsors. We're coming right back with our guest on the Yeah Come On show 141 with Jeff Boggis. Again, fantasyfootballempire.com. We want to thank circle285.com. Insurance needs. Look, man, if you think you're paying too much, you probably are. Get a free quote. It's all about that quote. You don't have to do it, but if it works, take it. Free quote at Circle 285 to bundle house, home. I mean, that's the same thing. Sorry. And car. So joebees.com is involved again. We're bringing back the bee pollen, baby. You need to take 2 of those golden capsules a day. I do it. God knows I do. Every damn day. Go to joebees.com. And then for your financial needs, because it's brutal out there. I'm not going to get into politics. I don't have to. You know how I feel. Look at my hat. Okay. No, look at the front part of my hat, not the bill. Don't look at the bill.
I'm looking at the bill.
No, don't look at the bill. Go to oxygenfinancial.com. That's Ted Jenkins, baby. He'll help you. He's on TED Talks, Rock 100.5, 6 o'clock every Tuesday. And then David Markwell. Lastly, we love us some David Markwell, Ridgeline Counseling. Look, man, times are tough. If you're going through something, God knows we hear about people that take their life. We hear about people going through divorce. We hear about people in deep depression, not sure what to do. David Markwell can help you through it. Ridgeline Counseling. All you have to do is go to Markwell, MARKWELL, just like it sounds, therapy.com. Tell him the Yeah Come On show sent you. And speaking of Yeah Come On, Boggis is on it. I'm on it. Legends. Yeah Come On, Bourbon Whiskey, proud sponsor of the Yeah Come On show. Again, our special guest. We left off talking about your Atlanta Falcons. I like it on the Pitts thing. Any more on the Falcons? Is there anybody worth grabbing? Is there anybody, because that's the home team?
Steve, besides Cordell Patterson, which I do like around pick 85, if Drake London can stay healthy, you know that the Falcons are going to get behind. And as I say in fantasy, junk fantasy points are worth the same as regular fantasy points. So they're going to be playing from behind. They're going to have to throw the ball a lot. Drake London's going to be the recipient of that, especially if they double team Kyle Pitts. Not that they have to worry about that in the red zone because he has no idea where the end zone is. So they don't have to worry about throwing to him. Yeah, So anyway.
Damn.
So Drake London's a nice sneaky pick. I know he is a rookie, but right now he's being drafted around wide receiver 39, 40. I like him. I like him late. And if you get toward the end of your fantasy football league drafts, Tyler Algiere, I think that's how you pronounce his name, correct? He's the rookie running back out of. I'm not sure where he's out of. Sorry.
Do you even know where he's born? Where's he born with that name?
Algeria, I assume.
Yeah, there you have it.
He's from
sure.
BYU.
Is he BYU? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Has he done all the Mormon stuff he's supposed to do like those
face.
2 years? I just don't want him fading out of the Falcons. Like I have to go do my walkabout. I don't want that happening. I need him here.
Yeah.
Well,
so
actually, while we're talking about homer picks, let me ask you this: do you find that if you are in a league full of mostly Falcons fans, it's probably a bad idea to look at any Falcons players?
Well, Evan, if you really like the Falcons players, you have to factor in the home field advantage.
Right.
Meaning you have to rank a player about a round higher than you normally would if you really want them, because there's always the homer person in your league or several people that say, you know what? I'm going to draft Matt Ryan. Well, not this year, but last year, because he's the quarterback for the Falcons. And I don't care. I'm getting him. So you will see that. So if you play in leagues where you travel to Alabama, maybe, Derrick Henry is probably going to go a little bit earlier,
Julio Jones.
Well, that I would, if you asked me that a month ago, I'd say no, but absolutely now that he's at Tampa, he's got to deal with Godwins and Evans, but Brady throws the ball around. And I think this is going to be great for Julio. Julio's a nice mid to late round pick that I think you're going to get a lot of value this year. He stays healthy. He's going to, there's plenty of mouths to feed. They like to throw the ball. And Leonard Fournette being the running back, they have to protect against the run at the same time. It's not like you've got a one-dimensional team, whether they just can pass or they can throw. They can do it all. So I think Julio is a really good pick this year.
I like that. And I saw that too when he went there, and you almost got to be happy for him. You're like, okay, here's a QB that's protected. Granted, you look at the Bucks, they've lost their center. That definitely affects the team. I'm sure but Brady's only been with the guy a couple of years, but he protects him. So you got to make sure you get the right center on that team. But Brady, last time I checked, pocket quarterback, we all get that. He's not moving around. He's the oldest quarterback in NFL, but I think he's got about 2 seconds to throw. He might even have 2.5 seconds. Matt Ryan had less than a second. So Julio was only 20 yards out max. And I think that, I agree with you. I think that Julio's going to light it up. You almost got to be happy for the guy.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. He could play out of the slot too, instead of playing at the wideout position. He's very versatile. I think
and he's fast. He's still got speed. He's another one that can get hurt on you, but him coming across, he can run. He can get 20, 30 yards out of whack. So I look forward to seeing that.
What does it mean for Brady to take an 11-day break for a mental hiatus?
Here's the thing.
I'll let you handle that one, Boggis. I have my thoughts.
Oh, my thoughts are this. This was discussed even before he came back in the preseason. He wanted to make sure he came back. He got into the rhythm in the preseason or in training camp. Once that was established, he took his sabbatical, and I think he'll be fine. I'm not worried about Brady. And Brady's going 10th, 11th, 12th quarterback off the boards this year, which is, to me, is just amazing. Talk about a value pick. I always say, if you can, there's always that quarterback run. You have to worry, like if you're on one end of the draft where you just picked and then the quarterbacks start going in succession and you're caught on the wrong end of that can be really bad. But the quarterback this year, and tight end for that matter, is really deep. You can wait. You don't have to get the Patrick Mahomes or the Josh Allens at quarterback. You don't have to necessarily, draft Travis Kelce at tight end. You can wait. So Brady, the 10th quarterback right now going off the board, and Aaron Rodgers. Everybody's given up on Green Bay, just because.
As they should, as a Bears fan.
Yeah.
that's
Do you
a great
think it's
fan.
the conflict where like he's going, he's taking his little natural drug and he's dating some freaky chick and he's all into meditation. He's going to patch it up with his family. He's definitely got some kind of mental angle going on outside of his physical talents. And the ponytail, as a ponytailed man, it threatens, it scares people. Do you think that has anything to do with it?
I think that because Devontae Adams left Green Bay for Las Vegas, that they have no other weapons. And also MVS left for Kansas City. So I think he'll be fine. I really do. Another great value pick you can get late in the draft.
Deshaun Watson, I won't bring it up. Does anybody draft Deshaun Watson? Do you even draft him? Will he see play time? I know and this is up for all three of you. I mean, obviously, I'm talking about it because I do sports on the radio. Well, I call it sports. I'm just talking crap. But I know that he has a 6 game, probably going to turn into a 10-game suspension. Is he back by week 11?
I think they'll stay at 6, but you also have to take into consideration, let's say best case scenario, it's 6 games. He also has a bye week after that 6 games. So you really are only getting him. I mean, he's going to miss 7 games. So is he really worth the investment? I would say if you draft a quarterback, your quarterback number 1 that has a bye week, that is not in the first 6 weeks or in the bye week that Cleveland has, then I would draft him as my QB2 with the premise that he's going to come back and he could be a really good quarterback, and he might help you during the playoff run if you make the playoffs. So yeah, I would draft him, but I wouldn't draft him.
Do you draft for playoff run? I mean, do you draft with that far out in the season in mind?
I personally do, because what I do is, here's my strategy, Evan, is if every round I'm looking at 2 or 3 players. Okay. Right. And you have to say to yourself, okay, I've got 60 seconds on the clock. And you can get paralysis by analysis very easy, where you just like, okay. And I've seen it that all of a sudden on ESPN, and you'll see this too, Evan, you'll hear that little countdown clock when it gets down to 10 seconds. And you're like reaching, and then you're like, damn it, I didn't want him. So put 2 or 3 players in the queue every round. But when you look at those 3 players, hypothetically, if no one falls to you, that's not one of those 3 players, what differentiates picking one over the other 2? To me, one of the factors I look at is what is their week. This year it would be week 15, 16, and 17. Those are the playoff weeks, because we're now going to an 18-game schedule.
Right.
And then the last week, usually the starters sit. That's why you never have a fantasy playoff the last week of a season. Okay. So if I'm looking at, let's say, a quarterback, okay, and they're playing against the Falcons in week 16, they're playing against the Jets in week 17, or the Giants in week 18, or something like that, a really weak schedule. That's a competitive advantage you're going to have, because, and when you get the playoffs, everyone has a clean slate. It's one and done. So all things being equal, that's something I definitely look at, because from one year to the next, you don't know what defenses are going to be like. Dallas was an afterthought last year as far as drafting a fantasy defense, and they finished number 1 overall. So every year it changes. So, but all things being equal, the Giants are going to be the Giants. The Falcons are not going to the Super Bowl, unfortunately, this year.
Boo.
Just saying.
I know. I hate it. I had to say it this year too. I'm like, it's just not going to happen. And every year it's my team regardless. So if they do it, I'm not jumping on a bandwagon. They're my guys, but I'm going to cheer for them every damn week. But yeah, you got to take a step back and go, yeah, we're not going to. Yeah, there were years with Matt Ryan. I'm like, we're going to the Super Bowl. This could happen. And this
but I put a future on the Falcons when I was in Vegas.
Yeah, me too.
Did you really? What, that they're going to draft Bryce Young next year?
Yeah. Oh God, I would love that. No, I went in with a couple coworkers. It was like $220 to pay out a little over $12,000. It was during the Super Bowl last year. We just wanted to like put something random. We were like, we all like the Falcons. The season's not even over. The Super Bowl hadn't even been played yet.
Well, so, for you, I hope it happens, dude. For me, I hope it happens. We'll see. What do you think Matt Ryan's going to do at Indianapolis?
I think he's going to have a phenomenal year. Another great sleeper. If you wait on quarterbacks, he can carry your team this year. Seriously, you load up on all the other positions. Matt Ryan is going 13th right now, and if you're in a 12-team league, you can wait and get Matt Ryan late in your drafts. Or he's going to definitely be a good number 2 quarterback in the event that your number 1 quarterback gets hurt or you need a fill-in for a bye week. And then you also look at the matchups. He could have a really good matchup versus a quarterback that maybe is playing against Tampa or, another really good defense. So you want to play the matchups too. Just because you drafted the guy in your first 5 rounds doesn't necessarily mean that you have to start that person every week. To me, it's 1/3 the draft, 1/3 the waiver wire, and 1/3 roster management during the season. That's how you win your leagues.
I do like Indy as a future, and I'll tell you why. They had 7 Pro Bowlers last year. That was more than any other team. They were embarrassed in the last week losing to Jacksonville, and they've been thinking about that all offseason. And now you bring in Matt Ryan. I mean, that team could go off this year.
They could. It wouldn't surprise me if they played in the Super Bowl. Seriously.
Not to just preach to the choir here, but that team, just all the pieces kind of fell in place here.
Yeah, I mean, look at the offensive line last year. I think you mentioned it earlier. Matt Ryan had about a second and a half to throw the ball. That offensive line for Atlanta has been horrible for the last 5 years. He now goes to an offensive line that's going to protect him. He has more weapons this year in Indianapolis. He's got the best running back in the league, or at least in fantasy football. I think he's going to have a great year. I really do.
Now, I look forward to it for sure. I think he still owns his home in Atlanta, although you hear all the little things that go down. It's funky on these contracts, and you hear all the people that get upset. I think Matt felt betrayed, the fact the Falcons looked at Deshaun Watson, and then you look at our team, you're like, the dude is, he's a convict, man. I got no respect for him as a guy that's had a lot of sex. I'm like, you're famous. You got to, and I won't use the M word, but you got to get touchy feely with everybody you come in contact with, dude. You got to mess with everybody that massages you or gets near you. You got to show yourself. It's just loose. You can't find a girl, and keep it private. The M word.
The
millionaire
molestation.
You say the M word?
Yeah. Doesn't molest start with an M, or am I wrong?
It's a silent G.
I didn't know which words you were trying to say.
It's like opossum.
I don't want to call somebody. I'll be honest with you. It's a podcast, and I don't want to call somebody, less than a molester. I thought
you said the N word. I was like, so why would? First of all, you shouldn't call anyone that. But even if you were, why would this be the reason why?
No, I said M, like
M,
because you look at what he's done. Yeah, well, you look at what he's done. He's has he molested people? I don't know. I don't want to call him a molester, but I think it's funny that you thought I meant another letter.
I sure did. I didn't think. I was so confused.
No, don't.
Jeff, what's your position on drafting molesters?
Well, I'm in a couple of fantasy molester leagues, and
yeah. Hold on. We had the same issue with the same issue with a Pittsburgh quarterback. There was the same accusation. Roethlisberger had the same thing. And I know the DJ that was at the club when it happened.
Oh, in Milledgeville?
And he was trying to give me an idea. That, you know what his name was? His name was DJ Stutter. Was it? Yeah, DJ Stutter. The guy literally stutters and he's in the DJ, which I think is pretty unique.
I actually grew up with him.
What? You know him?
Yeah, I grew up with his sister, and I went to St. Jude together. And he's younger than me. He used to rap basketball around here. I know him personally. Hilarious.
He was at the club that night. And
I didn't even know that.
but there's things that, I just don't want to accuse. I don't know. Where there's smoke, there's usually fire, but I'm like, damn, this dude, the amount of money he got paid and the amount of women he's already paid off. And then there's a couple, you're like, damn. It's definitely a sticky situation. I played the audio. I don't know if it'll get in his head, but the audio is, it's a little 3-word chant. There's 2 of them. One is no means no going around the stadium. That's nice. Your kid can hear that one. But you sick F yeah, that one's pretty harsh. And you're like, if you're taking your little 5-year-old to the game, you're like, okay, don't listen to this. And they only chant it for, I don't know, 3 effing minutes, the whole crowd, and it looked to me like it affected him a little bit. So
Yeah.
that's where my head's at. That's why I just don't know what the Browns were thinking. I think they want a dynasty again, like they had when football began. I just don't know if this is your guy. And I hate it that the Falcons took a look at him because they had to know. I mean, good God, we got a dog fighter and then we get this guy. I'm like, why are we looking at bad boys? It's not worth it. It's
Chicks
not.
love bad
Matt
guys.
Ryan, it's just not worth it.
Yeah,
It's
Matt
the
Ryan's
hassle.
the complete opposite. That's a glass of 2% milk as a person.
Exactly. I don't even know if Matt Ryan cusses. I think he does. I don't know.
He wouldn't. He's the Ned Flanders of the NFL. And
So yeah,
God help me, I love him.
yeah. We'll just
So
see. I just think
if you do draft Watson, you have to change your fantasy football team name to something like What's Under My Towel.
can't make that up. That was the line of the show. Make sure
Pulling that one.
Make sure you write up under that. Say line of the show. We'll just start doing
okay.
that. We'll have what we call the line of the show.
The big
Unless
MVP
somebody says
chip.
something better. There's also the line of the show is you thinking I said one letter when I said M. That could also be the line of the show.
Hey,
When
don't
I
worry,
see
Evan
The
just wants
letter
to
of the
have fun.
show.
This show is brought to you
by the letter
I'm
M,
telling you
I
guys for
think.
years, we need to have more lessons
M.
on the show.
Yeah. The letter M. There you go. That's
M is in
fabulous.
Nary.
Yeah, thank you. Good God. Brett and Evan, because God knows I talk enough. Is there any other questions? I want to get it in before we move on to finish me off with an F. And that would be you, Brett, with a B. I'm just making sure everybody knows what the F I'm talking about.
I had a quick question here. So I'm in a keeper league, and I'm 4th pick. Now I had Jonathan Taylor in the 2nd round last year. 4th pick. Do I take him or do I take? Sorry, hang on. Let me double check who it was. Boop.
Take your time.
I don't want to take that much time. I thought I had it pulled up.
I already have my questions set. Come on, Evan. This is weak.
Or in the 4th, do I take Cup?
You can get in the 4th round, you can get Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Versus what do you get 2nd round Jonathan Taylor?
1st round Jonathan Taylor. So it's the one.
Oh,
so right.
But does that mean that who's going to be available in the first 3 rounds though that you could get? That's
Well, so 4th, right? I don't know what the rest of the keepers look like at this point, but and that may inform it. But basically at 4th, is it worth throwing away my 4th pick to have? Not throwing away necessarily, but is it the wisest to use Jonathan Taylor in the 1st round at pick 4, which is a great value for sure?
Oh yeah, I mean if it was a redraft league, let alone a dynasty league, it would be a steal getting Jonathan Taylor at the 4th overall pick. So and when you do a dynasty league, you're like, oh, I can get him in the 4th round. The problem is you don't know, unless you know the other keepers, what's going to be available. More than likely, they're going to be keeping a lot of their good players, and there's not going to be that value there. And you've got the best overall player in the league. I would take Jonathan Taylor, even though Cooper Kupp in the 4th round is great, but I don't think there's going to be other value there for you to draft ahead of that.
Because I was supposed to be 8th, and it was like, oh fuck yeah, tons of value, right? No brainer.
Right.
We were doing it by the most recent couple of NASCAR races, and
yeah,
happened to finish really well this time. So
God bless you, Brandon. God bless you, Evan. What you got? I mean, excuse me, Evan.
It's all right. We'll go reverse order. So I guess the 2 teams that I wanted to ask you about, one has to be your take on the Rams this season and their chance to repeat. But I also want to ask you about the Raiders, because I know the Raiders went through a really weird season last year. First, you had Henry Ruggs and that whole incident. He's gone.
Yeah.
And then they lose their coach, John Gruden. But the team ends up making the playoffs and doing pretty well. Now, Devontae Adams comes to the team. So you've got Adams, Hunter Renfro or Renfrey.
Yes.
Renfro,
yep.
Yeah, who is like the Bill Belichick player of the year. You also have Darren Waller. Yep. I mean, is Adams gonna come in and take the Ruggs spot and make them even better? Or is he going to take away from other players and lose the value? Because Darren Waller went off last year. What are the odds that the Rams repeat? Those are my 2.
So let's start with talking about the Raiders first. I actually like the trade for Adams. I mean, he can be a number 1, number 2 overall wide receiver in the league. Derek Carr, he's not the greatest quarterback, but when you have the weapons that he's going to have this year, he's going to be a good quarterback. And I think their weakness is really at running back. You've got Josh Jacobs, as you know, and yep, and who's Kenyon Drake, the backup, also an Alabama grad. And then another guy, I think his name is Amir. One of those 3 guys are vying for the running back position. Right now, it's Jacobs' job to lose, but they're serviceable. They're gonna have it's gonna be a wide open offense. I do like the Raiders to. They're gonna definitely. They're in the AFC West. That is, to me, the toughest division in all of the NFL. You've got the Chargers that are really good, a good team. You've got Kansas City, another great team. It's very competitive. I do think they'll make the playoffs. Don't know if they'll come out as far as making it to the Super Bowl, but I do think they're going to contend this year. They're going to go pretty far.
So that's a great bet to buy a future and then hedge it once they make it.
Yes.
If you buy it now, you could buy them maybe at $20 to win $1,500.
Yes.
They get in the playoffs, and then you just start hedging.
Then
it
sell
out.
it. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and then take your winnings. Absolutely. Yeah, I would say that they're pretty much a lock for the playoffs, and then hedge your bet from there.
All right, who's the lock for the playoffs? What was that?
That's the Raiders.
Raiders.
That's a good one. I like them in Indy right now, and Indy's at like plus a bajillion.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. Here's one I want to run by you. What about Russell Wilson leaving the Seahawks? Everybody's saying that the Broncos are going to do something, that they've built a team around this guy.
So you got, what do we got? Cortland Sutton. You've got Jeremy Jeudy, another Alabama wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at those wide receivers, they if you go back and they had, I think the best quarterback was Teddy Bridgewater, or maybe even Drew Lock, who's now in Seattle. As I think he came over in the trade for Russell Wilson. They haven't really had a good quarterback that's thrown them decent balls. Russell Wilson is going to light it up. I think it's a really good fit for him. Now, he did have Lockett and DK Metcalf. He had really good receivers already in Seattle. They didn't have the best offensive line, where Denver has a much improved offensive line over Seattle. So I think you're going to give Russell Wilson a couple more seconds of pocket protection. That's going to make the difference, because you have playmakers at those offensive wide receiver slots or positions. So they're in the AFC West, another team that, very competitive. It's going to be, it'll be interesting to see if the wild card comes out of there, because those teams have to play each other a couple of times a season. They're going to beat each other up, unfortunately. So you might get a team like the Indianapolis Colts that might not win their division, but sneak in as a wild card because they have a easier schedule in that division versus the AFC West. And then finally, to answer your question about the Rams, I do see a little bit of regression out of Cooper Kupp, but he's still the top 3 wide receiver. He's going in the first round of every fantasy football league draft. He still is building up his rapport with Matthew Stafford. They're going to be a good team. It's all, as you know, it's very tough to repeat. Once you get to the Super Bowl, it's tough to get back to the mountain. They are a playoff team. I just don't know how far they're going to go this year.
And based off of entertainment value,
yes.
We talked about it earlier about the Colts. They lost in basically the final game, getting knocked out. And they were also the very first team to be on Hard Knocks in season. And they've always said that there's this Hard Knocks kind of curse, and that may have been it. And this year, it's the Arizona Cardinals, and who also just re-upped on their quarterback big time, but they had put a stipulation in that he has to study more.
I saw that.
Yeah. What? So
yeah,
right. You got to know the plays. Okay.
Got to read your playbook at night. Yes.
Yeah. I think he has to do like 4 hours or
4
something.
hours.
2.5.
Yes. Yeah.
But
a lot of study.
So they have what's his name? I call him Hollywood Brown. I think it's Marquise Brown, or he came over from Baltimore Ravens this year. So they've added some weapons at the wide receiver position. in Arizona, but you've got DeAndre Hopkins, right?
Mhm.
Who was on performance enhancing drugs or PEDs or PEDs. So he's sitting out, I think, the first 6 games. Him and Deshaun Watson are going to go party it up over the first 6 weeks, I guess. And how much is that going to hurt him? You know, missing a really a top receiver for the first 6 weeks. We'll see. Connor's a great running back. I think he had like 18 touchdowns last year, 5 through the air, 13 on the ground. So they've got a good offensive team. That's one where I might throw a little money down, but I could see the Hard Knocks curse really hurting them, especially if they're filming where they're looking at Kyler Murray and he's not studying, or he's cutting study hall where he should be studying the playbook, and it might come back to haunt him.
There you go. And one last question I want to ask, because I'm in I don't know if any of y'all are involved in one of these, but when you do an auction league, is there anybody worth, because I see guys jump in $50 on the first guy, and you're like, good God, you only got 50 left, bro. You're that guy, Brett? And I try to get slick. It depends on who you want. Is there anybody that's a must that is worth going in that deep round one and getting into a back and forth with somebody?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Because I mean, if you, there's a lot of, it's so I think it's very difficult to do an auction league versus, a regular snake or serpentine draft league, because there's going to be somebody, and everybody has a different strategy, and there will be the person in your league that does what's called the stars and scrubs strategy, where they're going to get the top players that they want, spend probably 75% of their salary with those first 3 guys, and then they wait around for about an hour till they get down to about the $3 players, because that's all they can afford, and I look at it as, I have a dollar figure that I'm going to spend on a guy. Okay. If it gets into a bidding war, I don't care who it is, I back out, because I know there's going to be value in other players, but you don't want to wait too much. I've seen where a team just waits, and they don't even bid until like 30 minutes have gone by. And then they get halfway through the draft, they have no players, but then they start getting the players. So they have a bunch of mediocre players versus a stars and scrubs. It just depends on how, your roster management. But you've got to go in with some sort of, and I'll send you my spreadsheet, Steve. You plug in your salary cap, and then it will take that into consideration, and that will spit out or calculate what your adjusted value is for each player. So like I might say that, I don't know, Jonathan Taylor is $50 in a $200 salary cap league. Well, maybe you play in a $250 or $300 or $100 salary cap.
We're $100. We just do $100.
Okay, so you'll put in your salary cap of $100, and it will take Jonathan Taylor's $50, and it will adjust it down to match what a $200 league would look like. So it might be $25 would be the target. So, you could say, all right, I'm willing, if I really like a player, I'm willing to go the extra $1 or $2. But, you don't want to get into a bidding war to where you just say, oh, I'm getting him no matter what. You've got to know your limits, because you might be happy you got the guy, but if you spent 10 extra dollars, that's somebody, I guarantee it happens every auction draft. 30 minutes later, there's another player you really like, but you don't have the money, and that other person does. And you're like, dang, I wish had I known I could have gotten this person for this amount of money, I would have waited. That's going to happen. So,
and I hate the bluffers. I hate the bluffers. Every once in a while, a bluffer gets stuck, but I hate the people that just try to raise it up to run your money out. I hate that, but that's part of the game. Again, our special guest on show 141, the Yeah Come On podcast, is fantasyfootballempire.com's originator and the man, Jeff Boggis, drinking a little Legends Yeah Come On bourbon whiskey. Right now, to close out the show, we go to Brett Barney for a little Finish Me Off.
By the way, true story. Last year, I did my first ever auction draft, and it was with my company. It also happened to be the same time that I was on my honeymoon in Denver. And it also happened to be at the same time that I was in a shop that sells herbal supplies. And it also happens to be a place that you're not allowed to have your phone out. So I pulled it out, spent all my money on the first 6 people that came up, and walked out. It's like,
Damn.
we'll see what happens. $20 is all I put in this league. All right. So Jeff, do you understand the name of this game and how this works?
I do not.
Okay, so I'm going to start reading a headline, and then I'm just going to stop. And then you guys have to guess the end of the headline.
Okay.
And these are just straight up headlines that I find.
Okay.
First one. Fuck off, you fuckwads. Peterborough mayor says to QAnon followers who
use the M word.
No, M.
There's the line of the show.
It's the M word. Maybe that's good. Maybe that protested outside his home.
They won't stop talking about pizza store.
QAnon followers who tried to arrest police officers.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
Can't arrest a police officer. I've never seen that. Citizen's arrest on a police officer? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and that doesn't even work in Canada. All right, here's the next one. Police arrest couple after having sex on.
After having sex on top of
a
police
plane.
car.
A plane.
Oh, a plane. That's a good one.
In Bryant-Denny Stadium on the 50-yard line.
Cedar Point Ferris wheel.
In Ohio.
Damn.
Damn it.
Researchers find monkeys are masturbating with
banana pills.
Monkeys are masturbating with just regular bananas.
Bamboo.
Very close.
That hurts.
Stone sex toys.
Oh. Ouch.
And these are all real headlines from around the world.
That sounds uncomfortable, man.
Now that was a monkey with an M, right? I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Now we got it. M for monkey.
Got it.
Go ahead.
Snake bites 2-year-old girl who
Bites her right back.
Was turned into a Cobra Kai.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She's now with a Cobra Kai. She got bit by a snake.
Who was carrying it?
who bites it back until it dies.
Yeah.
Nice.
Evan nailed it. I do have one last one if you want to get a random one that I just saw.
Yeah. 2-year-olds don't play. I like it.
No, just
final one. British Container Store gets a makeover as an ice cream parlor. Flavors include
Elton John.
Is that with an E?
Margaret Thatcher.
Container Store. Oh, hold on. I think I got it. Hold on. What's the little girl that was up hiding behind the bookcase in World War II? Anne Frank.
Strawberry Fields. Anne Frank.
Anne Frank. You got to come.
I was waiting for him to say Helen Keller.
Why do those two get confused all the time?
No idea, but the two flavors were ketchup, ice cream, and baked beans.
Baked beans. Those Brits love their baked beans, huh?
And that's
there is a weird one out right now. Is Grey Poupon. I don't know if you had that ice cream. We had it about 3 weeks ago, and it literally has little bits of pretzels in it, and the mustard flavor, and the ice cream. Dude, it was rock star. I thought I was gonna spit it up, and it tastes so good.
But of course,
Grey Poupon. I know. Go ahead. We'll have no mustard before it's time. What's the line? I don't know. I just know a Bentley pulled up and there was a conversation. All right. It is Yeah Come On Podcast, show 141. I'm Southside Steve. That is Brett Barney, my co-host. That is Evan Brando, my co-host, and special guest. Again, Jeff Boggis, can't say it enough, fantasyfootballempire.com. And thank you for drinking what I consider to be the best bourbon whiskey, and that is Legends. Yeah, come on, bourbon whiskey.
Cheers.
Get it wherever you can. Go to SpiritsUSA.com. That's spirits with an S, USA.com. Click on me, and it'll show all the locations on a map where you can pick it up. You guys take care, and can I get a yeah, come on?
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, come on.
Boy. That was good, Brett. I liked it.